Matt, welcome to Product Growth Stories. So happy to have you on. Matt is the CRO and a co-founder of Iversoft. And I'd love to talk about your journey. Iversoft has been making custom software for 250 clients for over a decade now, including really major players like Bell, Ericsson, Manulife. So I'm really excited to dive into both the company journey and the sales journey to make this happen. What inspired you to co-found it back in 2009?
It was a combination of things, actually. It was the housing crisis of the '08, so the big recession there. So it was like, what options do you have when you need a job? And just the excitement of like very early on recognizing the potential addressable markets in a whole bunch of different areas, right? That where this could be immediately used. So like at the top, both of the co-founders were having a hard time figuring out jobs right after they finished school, like their last degrees. So one co-founder finished their master's, I had finished my engineering degree, and like just right at that time, that's when the crash happened, and we were, oh boy, what are we going to do? So this opportunity.
I can relate to that. At some point, you don't want to look for a job anymore. You just, I'm going to make one.
Yeah, it was a really cool opportunity that we just had. That was like at the ground floor of something that you could really extrapolate into a lot of different markets. Because immediately, as soon as you got what mobile could do, in those days, it's just like this thing goes with you in your pocket everywhere. And
yeah.
So it's usable. It's literally out of Star Wars or Star Trek. Like all those tools are really coming. So what can we do? And then the creativity part comes in behind it. So whether that's like a tool for a company or a game or any of like all of these things can travel with you everywhere you go.
So it's really like that early mobile kind of revolution in what people wanted, what businesses wanted in terms of software development. Suddenly everybody needed a mobile app version.
Yeah. And it was honestly a ton of luck. It was just circumstantial. The economy was such that there wasn't a lot of opportunities with a lot of layoffs. But at the same time, my co-founder had the right network of people that could lead us to these jobs. I had this vision that, okay, cool. At the time, my co-founder was basically doing just contract work. She was just a contractor on hire. I thought, okay, there's an opportunity here to diversify it. Why don't we try it? Not knowing anything at all, what I was getting into, all the mistakes that would come with this, all the screw ups, all of those things.
I would give you luck, but you can't be lucky for 10 years. So there must have been something else.
Yeah, we're actually in our 16th year now.
Oh man, amazing. Yeah. So I know you started with tool and die in software. I also had a little bit of manufacturing background. Do you think that influenced your approach to sales today in any way?
Especially the interesting part of this is my other business partner, the third large partner in the company, is the CEO. And he comes basically from a marketing background versus he's huge into tech, really big into gaming. So him and I are really like the yin and yang. And for me, tool and die and engineering, I started with a tool and die maker and then moved into automotive engineering soon after I finished my ticket. So I had a lot of exposure to process, steps, quality control, all of these things we just take
process plans.
It's engineering, everything has a step, everything has a check. The biggest difference between the mobile field and what I was doing already was literally just the medium. It was a digitization. You still have to go through a design process. Is the tool doing? Instead of using software, the stamping on the manufacturing side, if you use the word tool, what problem does it solve? What does it look like? What's the design? What types of people do you need working on it to build the tool? What kind of maintenance does the tool need after launch? And then all the quality control, quality assurance stuff that goes with it. All of those things apply to both sides.
And when I think about sales and like how clarity impacts sales, right? So when you and the prospect like really both understand what, there's no doubt about what you're delivering, what the outcome is, what the risk is, it's like very easy. When you're talking about, from engineering, we have to get extreme clarity before you can get an army of smart people to not argue and build something.
Yeah. And that all comes from experience, because obviously in the first evolution of mobile, none of that stuff exists. These roles don't exist on the software side. That only came through maturity and I think increased hardware potential. As the hardware improved, the software got more and more comprehensive, more and more complex. There was no way that you were going to be able to use the same basic processes from the beginning as you progress on with the types of hardware you had access to. Because a phone, like today's phone, would rival a laptop in terms of computing power.
It's the same.
And the necessity to have the processes brought in so that you have successful launches. Otherwise, there's no software that's going to make it to market in any good working shape, or at least without a lot of bugs.
Yeah. And I see Iversoft there as 100% Canadian partner. Does that mean like all the teams are in-house?
Yeah, so everybody is in Canada. So we're just distributed across Canada, but everyone in Canada. We don't have any developers outside. And that's because we do work on some security projects from time to time. We also want to make sure we protect the IP of our clients. So come in, if we're doing payment processing or whatever else, we have access to financial stuff. Or if a company comes to us and say, hey, we have a new novel idea, like we're building some new IP that's going to be patented and everything else, we want to make sure that those things are all kept intact within Canada.
That makes sense. And I also to me, this model is a bit like an agency, right? You're an agency that's delivering these.
Yeah.
How do you see it differently?
It's like a hybridized like agency consultancy, because we work a lot with our clients to sort of help them suss out exactly how to go about solving the problem and design the problem. And we actually go and do the fabrication side too, where we're actually building, monitoring, maintaining, implementing all those fun things.
Definitely. I hear you on that one. And for both of those businesses, your profitability is really driven to a large extent or your cost is around labor, right? It's a really expensive labor. And that's why I think you see so much offshoring for development houses, because they're trying to how can we get this project done for higher profitability? How do you guys handle that?
It's the process. We use a dedicated team model, just a single retainer every month. We scope out and figure out exactly what's needed and when for the project. And the team is put together and they're just dedicated to that project the entire time. You add that to the process that we've developed to make sure that we can get product out the door. And that's where we can outmuscle a lot of the offshore people.
I see. Yeah. I feel like that would work really well for difficult problems.
We don't generally handle like restaurant menus or any of those more of marketing based platforms or applications where it's very simple. You're just presenting more front end stuff. Our firm definitely does really well when they're automating things. So there's a back end talking to the front end. We're automating processes, numbers, calculations, whatever that actually helps do processing faster to bring up or to help serve the customer, the end user better. In this case, it works a lot better.
Yeah, I could see that. And I'm wondering, I feel like this AI thing, if you look at mobile as a thing, it's I don't know, 100 times more absurd in terms of change and adoption to the new, and even mandates in terms of investments. And is that affecting the kind of work that people are asking you to do? Is it affecting your business?
Yeah, you're getting more clients. You're definitely, it's coming up in almost daily with clients, especially when working with any of the new partners or anyone we're working with. It comes up, could we use a machine learning tool for this or that? Or I think a couple of weeks ago, we were discussing using a machine learning tool for some of the documentation, right? So just these things, it's just further automating what we already started with. So it's just ramping up the power and the speed of it just makes the tools more and more powerful.
Yeah, it's wild. And because some of it, for very advanced and especially secure and compliant things, you can't snap your fingers and get that done. But for so much, it seems really easy to automate complicated workflows. And it's strange because I feel like everyone has this. So it's not a benefit or it's not good or bad. It's just now we're all running faster now.
Yeah, this bit of it, one of my favorite movies is Moneyball. And that's the wise use of sabermetrics to find out really good baseball players. But it only works if one team knows about it. So if all of and that's exactly what's happened to the major league. It started with the Oakland Athletics and they're like, oh my God, you guys were each one of your wins was a fraction of what our win cost when you're comparing it to Boston or New York. But then the next season, every single team in baseball has a office then. So it all equalizes out again. So it's pushing all the markets forward together. There's still a lot of legacy have not been done in the market. Some of our big opportunities with established companies are literally upgrading their tech stacks or what they have already. And that you can Google it. You can even put that into ChatGPT, where are the big opportunities in custom software going forward. And you'll see one of the top hits back will be bringing up the legacy stuff in industry. And that goes across several different.
It's going to be a massive job. Someone's got to do it.
Legacy modernization has always been something I've been interested in because we talk about it a lot here in Canada, but even in the States and in Europe, productivity is always one of the main markers. Investing in or building these types of tools for companies or even end users that work with companies is a really good way of bringing up your productivity. Still crush a lot of antiquated processes. Some of the companies we're working and speaking with right now are still using clipboard and pencil.
You know this from Tool and Die. I know you know this, that you can run a whole factory with a whiteboard. You don't want to.
It's getting harder and harder. Even now, I've been talking to some quite large manufacturers, household names, and putting IoT systems in their facilities that measure how long is this machine on. None of that software is off the shelf. So that's where a company like ours can come in, work with their facility and actually build them something that's going to give them all those analytics stuff that you can learn from data. One of the biggest evolutions There are several, but that's one of the bigger evolutions in this type of software is that learning things all the time. We're taking analytics and metrics off everything.
Yeah, I feel like the dream for data science in manufacturing, at least as I understood it, was one day we're going to measure everything, IoT everything, and then it's going to tell you in advance that a problem's going to come, and then you're going to not have any downtime.
Really good. Yeah. So the theory goes. I worked in factories for a long time, and like the amazing things are stuff that you never thought would breaks when.
We're new to measure that one. Yeah.
I think it's bringing the entire industry along. Like the entire economy is basically going to get a boost with this AI machine learning stuff. And as it progresses, it's going to do more and more automation to tasks that were either laborious or tedious or both. All right. And that's able to get us our productivity much higher. Actually allow us to do things we weren't able to do very simply before. Something that could take a lot of labor. So
see, for some of these, like where you need a mid-level employee to make sense of it, I feel like a lot of that we can pre-process now. How are you guys finding net new customers? Are you still looking for net new customers? Are you full,
all the time? Yeah. Like one of the biggest challenges that I would say personally from doing this for 16 years is like, we can talk about some of the projects that we've done, but many of them we can't. So really, like the exposure, I've had some pretty interesting reactions when I meet with people for the first time and describe our processes. And I never know you guys existed. And I'm like, that's why my job's here. We're trying to fix that problem because a lot of the time we can't talk about a lot of the really interesting or cool projects we've done in like blockchain or 5G or whatever it is because we've got restrictions.
EA's restrictions. Yeah. You can't do like a case study for your secret government project.
Yeah. No, we're not do those things. So I get out as much as we can. A lot of the stuff that we do is about relationships. So I do as much networking and building out of new communities as I can. Lately, I've been spending a ton of time in the KW market. We're excited about joining the community there, working with a lot of the different people and growing a base there. If we can. Kitchener-Waterloo, sorry.
Oh, Kitchener-Waterloo. Okay.
Yeah, just west of Toronto.
Yeah, in person still matters. I feel like it's going to matter more and more, especially as channels get more and more saturated.
Yep.
You can show up in person and show that you actually care. There's difference.
As the technology accelerates and all the things that we've built over time, I'm getting more and more requests for in-person meetings now. It could be a backlash from COVID when everybody was forced to be virtual, but I am getting a lot more requests to be in person these days. So who knows?
Yeah. Okay. So you're doing like local, on the ground, old school, show up. You guys also doing, I'm curious if you're finding like certain marketing channels are working well for you. Everybody kind of has a favorite channel.
Yeah, I think for us, it'd be LinkedIn. We're always doing something online. We've always got campaigns. We're doing our best to tell the stories of both the founders and the other executives that have really helped build the company up. Graham and Laura and Steph and everybody else. So there's been basically a tight group of us that have done an enormous amount of work to get the company to this point. 16 years is not too bad. Not a bad run. We're still growing and we're definitely looking for more clients. We're looking at expansion across Canada, the US, and hopefully into Europe quite soon.
Amazing. Okay, so LinkedIn outreach makes sense.
LinkedIn is like definitely probably our favorite, but we also use other ones. There's Instagram, there's Facebook. We're still using like the other, but I would say like the more prominent one would be LinkedIn at this point.
And how would you say that just the overall market has evolved? We talked about the like rush for mobile. How have your customers changed? Like the things that people are asking for, how has that changed over these 16 years?
Jesus. Yeah. Like at first it was very much, as you said, it was like the .com boom. Like everybody just wanted to have a space so that if you went to the website, you could actually get some kind of information. Very simple, not complicated. Now you're looking at, it could be anything. It could be financial transactions. There could be like a chat bot there that's like trying to help people guide them. There could be a back end element to all of this stuff that's actually going to process like payments or automation or whatever the problem may be. The complexity of the software has enormously grown from generation 1 iPhone to
it's not just CRUD apps.
No, I'm actually amazed. If I sit there and think about it, like I remember when it was actually in the news cycle, I think for a few days, and it was a guy that came up with a beer app. So like the beer just filled up the screen and when he tipped it over on its side.
Oh, I remember.
And then you compare that to the software that we make now. So if you have an insurance software, you can do your entire booking planning. You can renew your license, your health card. You can do all of these things from your phone now. You can run transactions. You can pay for your coffee. The evolution has been absolutely enormous, almost vertical within the 15, 16 years that we've been around. So to see this, it's actually pretty mind-blowing.
It's wild. Yeah, it's wild. And I even know, I'm just thinking of different SaaS business models. There's even like SaaS company that like plug in a whole gigantic feature set, which means you have to be building huge apps. And I don't think we started there.
No, and the API, like building APIs like crazy, custom APIs. And now a lot of the time, third party, just like you mentioned, third party, like they build their own APIs so that you can integrate them into the software that you want to use them with. So it has become a little bit horizontally and vertically integrated at the same time. But it's basically a snowball. It just keeps building up. But at the same time, you can get some incredible results from doing this. Like you can take like the Uber app, like before that, that is pretty amazing that you can just sit there on your phone.
Yeah.
They get a message at dispatch.
Out it, buys it.
The guy closest to you, he gets a ping. Hey, there's somebody like 2 blocks away that needs a ride. And there you go. Just 3 pieces of software.
And then they advertise something to you. It's just a weird, you're like, what?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And about how like mobile is, I think, a lot of the reason that you've got normal legacy televisions dying, because you've now got these devices that you can stream.
Yep.
You can actively talk to your friends while you're doing it. Like it has completely changed the way you interact with technology.
Yeah, this has been amazing, Matt. And I'm curious, like, what are you the most excited about for 2025?
Basically, where we are in the market right now is extraordinary. There's, with the technology coming out, and I would say the AI machine learning stuff getting a little bit more maturity to it and finding its feet, because I still don't think it's a very mature technology. We can deal.
No.
That's what I find really exciting, because once you have that technology and people have said, oh, okay, all these things need to be tweaked or improved so that it actually functions like we want, then you can get into some pretty exciting areas, because great, now you've got a functional tool, it just adds another layer to everything else that you're already doing. It makes it that much quicker, or you can calculate things or automate things that you couldn't really before. So like, I get excited about that next level up. Like every time things evolve in the market, I always get really excited, because suddenly like things that we're dreaming of doing, just like sci-fi movies.
Yeah.
One day watch that I'll talk to you and suddenly it happens. And it's what ability will it have and what new doors will it open? Because these things usually open themselves up to whole new markets that we never knew existed. And it's like a hydra, it just keeps growing more and more heads.
Yeah, like we don't know. Who knows where this is going?
Yeah. And there's, like we said before, there's still a lot of companies and firms that need to upgrade their technology so that they can compete in the markets we're in now. So even like legacy upgrades are still pretty, because it's a huge step. Once a company decides to do it, they had rabbit ears on their TV and now they've got like satellite TV and a flat screen. Like it changes their entire world around them.
Thank you so much, Matt.
Thank you.